Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Open eCry market commentary for the week of June 3rd. My name is Toby Gennaro from Trade with Precision, and just coming to you this week with the outlook for the markets. And getting started here on the S&P 500, looking at the ES futures contracts on the monthly chart. That last move, most recently up around that 1686 level, basically got a little bit of rejection off of there. We've got some overextension on the monthly chart, and just closed out the month of May. So we're kicking off a new month here with the month of June, and we'll have to see. It doesn't really tell us anything here. Obviously, we're only a couple of days into the new month. Looking at the weekly chart, however, we're looking at this candle last week. Very bearish looking indecisive candle, some overextension from the moving averages, and it was either one of two things. We're going to go up and retest that high, or we're going to come down and break the low of that candle. If we break the low of that candle, more than likely we're looking at a little deeper pullback here on the weekly chart. More than likely back down into these couple of candles right here, which was a key support level right around that 1593, 1594 level, which puts us right back within the 10-20 period moving average buy zone. As we go down to the daily chart, we can see that last week, the setup that we had on this one big pullback right back into the buy zone, a couple of bullish candles setting up right there. We got the break of the high and thought it was going to move back up to that 1686 level, but pulled up a little short right around 1670 something, and then we got a breakdown of the low of that candle, got a nice rejection candle set up there, and we actually put in then another low. So on the daily chart, we have a lower high and a lower low, which puts in essentially a change in trend on the daily chart, and we're looking toward then a little deeper pullback signal here on the weekly chart. 480 chart doesn't tell us a whole lot more. Might want to move down some of the other time frames to see. Right back here, we'll probably be looking at in the very near term here, looking for probably a rally back up into the sell zone. And as you can see, some of the resistance here right around that 1640 level. You probably see some sell orders accumulating right about there. We'll also have price right back in and amongst that 10-20 period moving average. We got the 50, the 20, and the 10 rolled over, and potentially looking to come down to that 1594 level for basically the first initial test of that level. And you can see that a little clearer on this 60-minute chart. We can see right around that 1640 level. That's going to put us right back in the zone right there. So you probably see some sellers coming into the market, pushing the market lower at that level. So overall, things are looking, just basically a standard pullback here on the monthly chart. And so let's keep an eye on that and see what happens this week, and then we'll be able to get a better gauge on what might be happening next week. But overall, these will typically take maybe some time in terms of these pullbacks. You can see some of these pullbacks that were a little bit deeper. They managed 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. Some of these don't necessarily anticipate that this time around, but we'll just have to see in how the market sets up on a series of different time frames. And then moving down to the small cap stocks here on the Russell 2000, looking at the Russell futures contract. Monthly chart doesn't tell us a whole lot more than the ES chart told us. Obviously, we have some overextension here, the same for the moving averages, but overall, the month of May candle really doesn't tell us anything different. Had a very bullish candle back in the month of April, and then we'll have to wait to see what happens here in the month of June, only into the month, a couple of days here. But on the weekly chart, similar thing, had a indecisive candle there, and then got a very nice rejection candle, very clean from last week. So it looks like more than likely we get a break of the low of that candle. More than likely we're probably going to get a break of the low of the candle from 3 weeks ago, right at that 969 level. Let's see what the low is on that. The low there would be actually 968. So if we get a break at that level, that would signify then a pullback at least back into this level around 950, which was a pretty significant level of support some time ago. A little different setup here on the daily chart. Had the same rally, bullish candles set up there early last week, broke the high of those, made a nice move back up. Didn't quite get to the top, but got fairly close. And then we got a pullback here. And looks like we're probably going to, it doesn't look quite as bearish as the ES chart, but as you can move down here on the 480, we've got a lower high, and it looks like we might be putting in maybe a few more touches right around this level at 978. And if we get that level setting up, we might be looking for a break lower, which would take us in then on the lower low and the lower high scenario for for the Russell contract. Let's take a look at some of the lower time frames, see if there's anything else going on here. The 240 chart, we can just see the two touches there lining up. We don't really have, we have a lower high here and a lower high here, which is the same thing as looking at on the 480 chart. Some of the lower time frames don't tell us a whole lot. We can obviously see as we get lower on the time frames, all of the moving averages get rolled over, and so things are looking fairly bearish for a pullback potentially into this 950 level, and I think you can see that pretty clearly on the daily chart, 951, pretty exact, just a whole slew of touches along there. So if we do get a pullback, that's more than likely where we start to see some buy orders accumulating in there to get long the market, and then more than likely that would then put us right back into the buy zone on the weekly chart. So things looking a little bit bearish here on a basically just standard pullback on the weekly chart from what it's looking at right now. And if anything changes, we'll keep you abreast of that next week. Taking a look then at a foreign currency pairing here, looking at the Euro USD, and on the monthly chart, we've got obviously this. So we've talked about this before. We've got this range here between this level right around 123 all the way up to as high as around 149. And it's been ranging back and forth there all the way back to 2009. So pretty broad range there. As we need to move down to some of the lower time frames to actually see where we can go with this, if anything. But just in terms of trading the range, looking at some of these key levels of support, like down around here at 127.76, and then some of the upper ranges, up around this 136.9 level, and then we can see that a little bit better on the daily chart. So the level's way down there at 128, and then up high right around 130, that 132 level. So it looks like we're making our move right back up into that 132 level. We just need to be able to find a setup as part of this range by going down to some lower time frames. We can start on the 480. We've got the 50, the 20, and the 10 all lined up. We've got a nice bullish candle set up right there. And as we look down through here, we can't really, this is pretty much the first bullish candle that's setting up right here, but we do have essentially a higher low in place, another higher low in place, and then we have a higher high. And basically right here, looks like we had an equal high almost. So we do have a higher high, higher low in place, and a nice bullish candle in the buy zone. Let's go down and see some of the lower time frames. See if that helps us. And we got the 20, the 50, the 10 in order. We got a nice bullish setup candle right there, with the high right around 130.15. So if we get, looks like I don't know if we got a break of that high yet or not. Nope, 130.14. Looks like we're getting there. We're getting pretty close. So it looks like if we get a break of that high, we'll be going back up to the top here, potentially putting in another new high. As we go down to some of the lower time frames, don't really see a whole much different. If we get down actually to the 15 and maybe something around the 15 and the 5 and the 30, we can start to see the moving averages fanning out in the direction trend. A lot of small candles just consolidating up with this trend, along with the 10 and 20 period buy zones. We have a couple of nice bullish candles in around here that take the break of the high, and we can continue to move higher. Got another nice small bullish candle right there, broke the high of that, moving up. So I'd continue to watch on some of the smaller time frames, trading in the direction of some of the intermediate time frames. I'm looking for a move back up to the most recent high, and then potentially putting in a new high, and then looking at the final profit target somewhere around that 132 level. And that concludes the outlook for the markets this week. We'd like to thank you all for watching the Open Ecrime market commentary for the week of June 3rd, and we do look forward to speaking to you next week on the Market Update.